again because I am back, y'all. I am back from vacation. I had a great time on my cruise through the Mediterranean, but I'm also happy to be back. Y'all ever go on vacation? You happy when you leaving, you happy while you there, but you also ready and happy to come home? That's me. We had a great time and I'm catching up on all my videos. If y'all didn't catch my video on Ready to Love, I dropped that one earlier. I was going to upload it when I was on my cruise, but the internet wasn't working well on the cruise ship. The internet wasn't interneting. It was good for checking email and texting and all the other kind of stuff, but it wasn't good for uploading a video to YouTube. So I taped it on the ship, but I uploaded it today. So the sound quality ain't that great, but hopefully you guys will check it out. I thought I was going to miss a lot of episodes of all these shows, but come to find out that they didn't even air new episodes over the holiday weekend over Labor Day. So here you go. I'm only missing one episode of all these shows. And same thing here when it comes to Hard and Hustle. I actually only missed one episode. So I am reviewing season 1, episode 4. They're calling it Feels and Heels. Hopefully all y'all have already watched it and you still coming here to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into this recap. So first of all, the show was started off talking about Chloe. Chloe is turning out to be somebody bringing some interesting conversation to the show. She's stirring the pot a little bit, but they had an interesting conversation, or she had an interesting conversation with her new man, Jordan, who we know is a lot younger than she is. And they were talking about everything is good and fine now, when she's 40 something and he's only, I don't know, 20 something, but they got a 20-year difference. So what happens when she's 60 and he's 40? And he said, well, you just gonna need to stay in shape. I told y'all I'm comparing this relationship to the whole Demi Moore, Ashton Kutcher thing. I'm not saying that it can't work out in the beginning, but that man gonna want kids or something later on, and Chloe ain't gonna be able to deliver it. But we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, what was interesting about the conversation was that the young man Jordan started going in on Chloe's son, talking about, you got a grown man living in your house and he ain't too fond of that. You see, this is a big dilemma with women who have grown men living in their house with them, i.e. their sons. Because a lot of men, it's interesting that later on in life, at first the men have a problem dating women with children when the kids are young. Now, when women are getting older and they're dating, men are having problems dating women when they have grown men living in the house, which are their sons. This has become a big issue out here in these dating streets. I hear it all the time for men. And what Jordan is trying to tell Chloe is that you need to give your son some tough love. And he's telling her, you make up a whole lot of excuses for your son. And Chloe says, you know what? It's hard out here being a black man. It's hard being a black woman too. It's so interesting to see how oftentimes you see women, how they raise their daughters versus they raise their sons. And what's so interesting, even further interesting, is you have a lot of women, and even Chloe mentioned this, that how much pee there is in the dating pool. Now get this. Women are complaining that a lot of the men that are on the market are not real men. They're not stand-up men. They don't know how to provide, protect, whether they want a leader, a provider, protector. Isn't that the same? Leader, provider, protector. That these men out here don't know how to do that. Well, what's interesting is that a lot of these men are being raised by women. So get this. So here you have Chloe with a son, and this ain't just a Chloe issue. This is an issue, period. Here you have Chloe raising a son, right, who she's coddling. And she's telling Jordan, who is pretty much the same age as her son, that it's hard out here being a black man. But yet, she's raising a man to be the very man that later on she complains about being P in the dating pool. Now, is it a lot harder out here in the streets versus, when I was younger? It is. It is a lot harder. But I think as women who are raising sons, especially single mothers with no male father in the house, you got to be really, really careful that you might be contributing to the problem. Your parenting style might actually be contributing to the P in the dating pool, because Nico, his name is he's running around talking about he want to be a rap star, a musical artist, and they sitting over here clowning each other, playing the Dirty Dozens with his mama. And then he goes so far as to tell his mama, basically, you wasn't shit when you was my age either. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he was trying to say. He was basically telling his mama, you lived with your mama too and wasn't paying no rent because you had me and you wasn't giving your mama no money. So why are you asking me for money, or why are you asking me to step up? Oh my goodness. You see, it's very interesting that we can raise the girls to be tough and learn how to provide for themselves, how to run a household, how to be ambitious, how to do all these things. But the sons, we letting them sit up there underneath their mamas, and then later on, we're complaining about how men aren't men. They're not leaders, protectors, providers. And I talked about this in another video where I said, when men live too long in a house with a mother and the mother's head of household, men get used to listening and doing whatever the woman says because she's the head of the household. You see, when a son lives with a mother and she's the head of the household and she makes all the rules, he doesn't learn how to run his own household. So then what happens is he grows up, he goes out, he gets married or has a woman, but he don't know how to run a household because he lived up in our household with his mom, and his mama made all the rules. And then we're running around talking about how we don't have men who are leaders, protectors, providers. Be careful, ladies. Be careful, ladies, that you are not the ones creating the P in the dating pool. And, Nico ain't very happy with Jordan, the young hot thing. And Jordan don't have much respect for Nico. So I don't really ever see this going too far, because I don't see a way forward where it would ever be a possibility of Nico and Jordan living in the same house. How can you have Jordan, who you're going to be expecting to provide some type of male leadership to you, because that's what Chloe wants, but then yet he's the same age as Nico, and you're allowing Nico to sit up in the house with dreams and aspirations of being a rap star, but in the meantime, he don't have no viable income. This ain't going nowhere. This is an impossible situation. The most that Chloe's going to get out of Jordan then is her going over his house to sleep over and a few rolling around in the sheets. Other than that, it's impossible. This is the new dating dilemma. Be careful, ladies, when you have grown children living in the house. You thinking that your life is going to be better when you get older. You're going to be able to date. But not if you're raising the Nikos of the world. You're going to be strapped, and then no man. I'm going to tell you right now, I hear it from older, because I got single male friends in our circle. They're divorced, right? And that's what they say. They say that's the new dilemma in the dating streets. That is, they find a woman they want to date, but she's got grown children living in the house, and those grown children interfere with her dating life. And they're like, I can't date a woman who has a grown man living in the house not doing nothing. They find it unattractive. Just letting you know, hey, I'm just the messenger. But anyway, then we switched over. We started talking about Latoria. And Latoria has told us she has a counselor. Thank you, Latoria. Thank you. And Latoria is explaining that, the situation that happened at the crawfish event when she and Manira got into it. And she's explained to the counselor that because she's a bigger lady and she is of darker skin, she often finds herself in situations where she believes that people find her to be offensive or bully or whatever you want to call it, just because of her stature and her skin color. She isn't given any consideration that she might have some bullying techniques, because it could be that too, right? I'm not saying that what she doesn't experience isn't true. I understand. But I also think she's got some bullying techniques. I do. I said it in the last video. Then on the other hand, you got Manira, who's small in stature. And what she says is she's tired of people looking at her as a little girl and that she's, a young thing. And hey, you know what? I could identify with Manira because y'all know Manira's an engineer. I'm an engineer. And let me tell you, there are not that many Black women in engineering, STEM majors. They're not. It's a male dominated field. And I can attest, Manira, I agree with you that in a male dominated STEM, that people are already looking for reasons not to give you credibility. First, they look at you as Black. That's the first reason they want to not give you credibility. Then you, a woman, you Black and a woman, less credibility. Then you come in looking young, then that's another reason to say you may not know what you're talking about. So Manira's triggered by it all. She might be too triggered, honestly. She might need to understand that I don't think Latoria meant everything she was doing. I think Manira was a little too sensitive about it, but I get it. I get it. But anyway, Latoria decides, hey, maybe we all need to have a group therapy session. And the counselor did try to tell Latoria that, hey, Manira could be triggered by that. Sometimes you have to think about other people's backgrounds and feelings. And I agree. I think the therapist did a good job with Latoria, because I often say that to people, that when you are in a situation and you're having a conflict with someone, you just can't look at it from your perspective. You also have to try to see it from another person's perspective. And if you can't see the other person's perspective initially, then you need to ask more questions. Instead of defending yourself, ask more questions. But while Latoria is putting together a counseling session, Manira decides she's going to put together her own little counseling session with her mama and her husband. And, I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought it was going to go left and not be a good thing, but looks like they got along. Manira's mama had some nice things to say. I don't know if it was all for the cameras. Something tells me it was all for the cameras, because I don't know how you could not really like each other. Then all of a sudden the cameras come and all of a sudden Manira's mom is talking about how she really appreciates the husband. Then what's the problem? If you would have been saying all these nice things before the cameras, then why would we even be here? So I don't believe it. I believe the beginning of the story, which is they don't like each other. And honestly, I feel a lot of it is Manira's mother. I think it just comes from her background. I do. Some women just don't like men. Sometimes it's because they've had such a bad go of it with men in their life. They're just really untrusting of men. And then also Manira's husband, Norman, we've seen some passive aggressive tendencies from him. So, even in this little date, Norman made some sly comment about, I think she said something about, you look like you're about to judge someone or something or another. And be happy. I don't even remember. It's been a minute since I saw the show, but he was like, I already made that mistake once. I just thought it was a nasty comment he made. So something tells me it's a combination of both. That it's a combination of Manira's mama really don't like too many men, period, because of what she had to go through with her own husband. And the other part about of it is Norman got a slick mouth. And I think it's a clash. I really believe that it's a clash. But anyway, they got through the dinner date and they promised to be nice to each other and love on each other. But I think it was just for the cameras. I really do. And then, we got to delve into a little bit of more of the issues going on, or I don't want to say issues, but background with Labrina and Brandon. We got to hear a little bit more about Labrina's son, her older son, who looks like he has a different father. So her son, I think they call him Pop or something. Maybe he's 15 years old. He's splitting time between living with Labrina and Brandon versus living with the father. I guess the father rules are a little bit looser than the rules at Labrina's house, and he's falling behind in his schoolwork. I don't know. A whole lot of stuff is going on, but she was having dinner with her parents who are divorced. They've been divorced since she was 3 years old. And I guess she's saying she has a bit of a clash with her own mother because she believes the parenting styles are different. So here we go again. Here we go again. You see, Labrina said that when she was young and she was a young mother, she was only 19 years old. Her mother practiced, I don't know, I guess, what we going to call it these days, tough love. I don't know. And put her out, made her grow up. And Labrina said that, she had to go out into the streets and learn how to thrive and survive. And she said, oh, she couldn't imagine, doing that to her son. So she's going to raise him differently. Well, I don't know. I guess that's how you get the pee in the dating pool. I guess that's where you got to find your balance, right? You got to find your balance between not throwing your children to the wolves, but also not coddling them so much, especially when it comes to these boys, because I'm telling you, the ladies, the women are thriving and the boys are being coddled and by the women. So the women learn how to grow up, be industrious, go out here and work, and then somehow or another, when they have sons, they decide all of a sudden they're going to coddle the boys. Well, this ain't going to work, ladies. This is not going to work. Her mama tried to, apologize and say, hey, you know what? Mothers, we ain't perfect. We made mistakes out here in the world. And she said, I apologize for some of the things I did, but I did the best that I could. And in the end, Labrina, you turned out great. Yeah, I whooped you. Yeah, I gave you tough love. Yeah, I told you was going to sit up here and have multiple babies and be living in this house with me. I practiced a lot of good things. And although Labrina has a lot of hurt feelings over it, the mama still feels as if she did what she did. I'm sure there were a lot of mistakes along the way. But maybe in Labrina's, trying to figure out the way that she's going to raise her son. I know everybody talks about old school versus new school. There's pros and cons. There were some things about old school that worked pretty well. There were some things about old school that didn't work well. And there's some things about new school that doesn't work very well at all. And there's some things about new school that works well. So everybody got to figure it out. But I don't think anybody wants to be raising kids as long as old as some of these kids are. I don't think that's any mother's dream, to be raising your child, for your child to be in his late 20s, early 30s. I just don't think so. I think people want to go on, live their life, go on cruises, go on vacations, and not still be raising grown people in your house where they have authority or autonomy because they're older, but you still have to impose rules on grown women and men. It's not ideal. So I think people have to set themselves up, set the expectations so that they don't find themselves in those positions when they get older, or if they are already there, figure out how to get out of it. Because that'll wear you out. That will wear you out. But anyway, LaToya gets all the ladies together. He said, let's go ahead and have this feels and heals. Let's go to this counseling session. And Rose says she's just coming to drink some mimosas. LaToya says she's already on a healing journey, so this is just going to add to it. And she figures we all got different puzzle pieces, but let's come together. Let's bring all our baggage to the table, because all our baggage is affecting our friendships. Yep, I agree, LaToya. Your baggage, everyone's baggage, as I say in all my videos, affects friendships. It affects relationships with opposite sex, same sex. It affects your relationships on the job. You cannot compartmentalize your baggage. You're not. So you might as well confront it. Elena's talking about her issues with her husband and everything there. And Rose is talking about her issues with her daughter. Labrina's talking about her issues with her mama and how she had to grow up tough and she wished she had more guidance from her mother. and she wished her mother hadn't hardened her so much and she didn't have to focus so much on her survival. And Chloe's concerned that she wants her children to feel loved as well. So everybody's talking about their trauma, and Manera's also talking about looking young and all this other kind of stuff. But in the end, they decided to make up. Latoya wrote Manera a letter. But what's interesting about it is Manera says she was actually the one to call Latoya and reach out to her and extend an olive branch. And Latoya never called her back. I found that very, very interesting. I keep telling you guys, Latoya is the one I got my eye on. And she presents one way, but I think she's a completely different person. So the fact that Manera reached out to her, called her to smooth it over, and Latoya did not even call her back. But then Latoya decides she's going to write her a letter. Part of it tells me, once again, it's for show. You see, because if it wasn't for show, then why wouldn't you just call me and talk to me? But you decide to write a letter and then read the letter here in front of the group to look good. This is part of Latoya, y'all, that I'm just not feeling. I'm really, really not feeling it. And it feels a lot like a mask, like showy, like fake, phony, not real. I'm telling you, I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. But the person who was coming around trying to expose Latoya was Shaniqua, and I don't think she did a good job. Latoya got her good, say, what is the FedEx Kinkos are you doing coming here with photocopies of text messages from 2014? Shanae looked crazy. That girl looked absolutely batshit crazy, bringing up, don't act like you didn't know me, Latoya. You knew me back in 2014. 11 years ago, I was on Latoya's side. Shaniqua was looking for her 15 minutes of fame, and she didn't get 15 minutes of fame. She got 15 minutes of shame because she looked ridiculous. And even Ro had to tell her, girl, you look crazy. You sound crazy. Why you just popping up in this friend group? Chloe, why you bring her around trying to create some mess? Because Chloe was absolutely creating mess. Absolutely, that's what she was doing. And next thing you know, the B word is flying around and they cussing each other out. So I guess we're going to have to see the aftermath of that on the next episode. But I'm still liking the show. I hope you guys are too. A lot is going on. So the new episode is going to air coming up this weekend. So catch me next week for the next episode of, I was going to call it Hustle and Flow. Heart and Hustle, though. Heart and Hustle. And I got one more review to catch up on. I believe it's King's Court. I got to do those reviews. But check out my Ready to Love. And check out my King's Court review because I'm going to be dropping that one too. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.